morning, YouTube. We're here again. It's the next day. Say something real quick. I don't know what this is gonna be today, but the whole TikTok controversy. I low-key want to make a video about TikTok because I want to prop you up though. That's the thing. Okay, I ain't going downstairs. I'm just doing it here. I found the comb. I just combed it to the side. Mind you, this headband is a mess. This is my makeup headband, but I'll just be wearing it. TikTok being banned where I'm at in Philadelphia is kind of sickening. I don't want to see somebody in Philadelphia with the TikTok app, or I'm gonna be highly upset, and I'm gonna be a little bit jealous just because, like, how are you able to get TikTok and I'm not? Like, this is crazy. So this one guy, I think he's in like Atlanta or something. He's literally like kind of, he's so fucking fine. Oh my god, but he's able to post on TikTok. I'm like, oh. And I go and try to watch them, and it don't let me. It'd be like, the whole thing about like the region shit. So I'm really sad about that. Like, that's really unfortunate for me, but I want more details, and I want more inside tea on TikTok, and like what's tea with it, because I don't know if anyone knew this, but TikTok the app used to be Musically the app. What if Musically used to be Vine and then they really switched it up heavy for Musically and then they did not like Musically? Whoever is owning that server, whoever owns TikTok, that app, that server, that fucking code, whatever, for those linkages right there, they want you, darling, okay? They want you. They don't want the app, okay? Because at this point, they just want the creators of the app. Get it together, darling. I made me my coffee. This is my go-to mug. I'm not even gonna lie, my campfire mug, because I got that fire in it. And I usually put the water after I done put all the grain, the sugar, and the coffee in it. I usually try to put the water right below the fire. For I know a rough around moment for what you call it? For like the level of amount of water to put in there. Also, I don't know if y'all do this, but when I make a cup of I bet I can't even talk. When I make a cup of coffee or boil the water, when I see that I took like a little bit of the last of the water, I literally just try to put more water in there and I put it on like to set it to boil, just for it could like it could be quicker to boil, just in case my parents want to make another cup, or if I want to make another cup. Also, my prime has been in the refrigerator all day. I can't wait until later if I can drink it. I'm gonna drink it later. I didn't drink it last night. I'm really being conservative, okay? I almost forgot my straw. So we're gonna go with the curved one today. I low-key need a smaller straw, look, for this cup, for my favorite cup. So, I don't know if y'all know where got that from, when I drink. Ah, I still am, I'm not even gonna lie, I still am a pretty huge Graveyard Girl fan. Bunny. Oh my god, hi Bunny. If you were ever to come across my YouTube channel, I've been a fan since you was doing the swaps. But you was doing the swaps, right? Or your shoe hauls, mainly your shoe hauls, um, and just like the weird Swamp Family Mail. Like, I used to watch all of that stuff. Like, I was very much a Graveyard Girl fan. Like, um, and also when she did for Halloween, like she had this big like Halloween mansion party bash moment. So good, so good. I really wish I lived in her area. Okay, during Halloween. Okay, she gave fucking bundles, bitch. Halloween in Bunny's town is literally Christmas. It's literally Halloween Town, like the movie, bitch. She is Jack Skellington, the Santa, and Sally, bitch. She's all a little bit I didn't see what she's been up to, honestly, just because I was watching her before I started doing drag, and then I started doing drag, and I kind of fell off on my YouTube shit. So also, I could have just wore my hair like this upstairs, and I was just like acting like I couldn't do it. Like it couldn't. But now that I'm down here, it looks a little bit better. Just because I'm like in dark in the darkness, bitch. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me put on. Let me see, because the one thing that I wished I would have put on was my red light or a light in the background for some color. Okay, because we need some color, darling. So I don't know if I think I'm just gonna attach this to the video of my vlog like yesterday. So just if I could just like have it a little bit longer, I guess, and a more exited moment. So thank you for watching my vlog. I didn't end up going to beat the bomb. If I do go today, I will definitely record it. Um, didn't even go to the studio either. But if when I do go to the studio, I would definitely record it. Um, it's not that I can't go. I could go. I just haven't gotten confirmation from the people to go. So I'm not gonna go to a job and well, I did apply. I did apply. I should call. I should call and see what they're doing. Um, also, yeah, I was about to say I didn't wash my face yet. I am gonna wash my face. I promise. I promise you. Also, I yesterday I didn't mention that I didn't wash my face before I went to bed, but I did wash my face before I went to bed. Wanted just to preface that because my skin. Also, let's talk about the my skin. Bitch, my skin did not look that good. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a separation. I don't know if it's a dryness, but maybe I should just get new powder puffs. Okay? Is that such a shocker? I feel like I had so many. I had more than what I needed. But let me show you how many powder puffs I actually have on deck right now and how dirty they all are. Well, these are powder triangles. I have one, two, three, four, five. It's not showing. Five triangle powder puffs, bitch. And I just got the kimchi powder, which I'm really excited and happy that I bought. Um, I'm not gonna lie, this powder puff is so weird. This is like a different kind of powder puff. I never saw a powder puff like this. Like compared to this one, like these are more. And even when I first got them, they wasn't like this. This is like I don't know how to explain it. It gives like teddy bear material, like this powder puff. And so I don't even know. I didn't wash my face. I'm a fucking mess. Um, where is this one? Okay, wait. So I bought this powder puff as a gag, but bitch, this powder puff is huge. Like, look at this. There's a powder puff. Jules and Arietta used on the and I never actually used this to get ready. It is a little too dense, a little too compact. I wish it was more like foldable and moldable. Like, okay, T, what I would have to do to make this fully usable is cut it open, take out the stuffing out of it, and use it like that. Because this is more of a this material is more like the triangle powder puffs. The kimchi powder puff is more like a fabric. Like it's hard to explain. It got like hairs. It's hairy. It's hairy. Kimchi's not really hairy. Well, I don't know what's under the covers, but I know that powder puff is a little hairy. Um, I low key just want to talk about makeup. Should we just do a makeup tutorial today? Should we just get in makeup? I was thinking about just doing a makeup video. I might do a makeup video today. We're gonna see. Y'all, if I shave my brows again, don't judge me. They're gonna go fully off. I'm gonna shave them fully off, bitch. I'm gonna shave my brows and my hair. I'm gonna go fully naked more rag on y'all hoes. That would be a video if I fully go bald. I think that's why I wanted to start doing YouTube for when I do these Jurassic ass shits. I'm gonna have other than Instagram and Snapchat these like deletable ass social media shits. Like at this point, Instagram. I used to love Instagram. I was on Instagram before Instagram was even huge. Like I was using it for the filters, when filters was like a new thing. I was very much a techie mechie. But now fuck Instagram. Instagram then got so bad. Instagram is for the fucking haters. Honestly, not the haters. Let me not get not too much. Not too much. Instagram is not for the haters. Instagram is for the motivators and the overachievers, maybe a little bit, because Instagram guidelines are so strict that I can't even post somebody else's post that they already done checked for AI. I will post it on my story, and now my story is getting flagged, and now I can't message people for 3 days because of something that wasn't even one me. It was someone else, and they already done looked at it. Like I don't understand. I don't get these AI bots. Like how old or how young these AI bots are reading these posts, but they need to get a little bit more information. Okay, because me not being able to message for 3 days in a row before having a show is completely unprofessional. Instagram, y'all about to have to owe me a little bit of something. Let me get a free verification. Y'all want to pay for my blue check mark? I would love that. Honestly, as a token of my Instagram love, like I lost my Instagram back in the day when I used to work at Giant. It was this one thing I got hacked. It was a fucking mess. I hated it so fucking much. I was so sad. I'm like, oh my god, my life is over. I had 8K. It wasn't even 10K, but I was so close to 10K. So close. And I just wasn't there. I couldn't grasp it. Now I feel like I can't even pass 5K. So I'm like, I'm over it. I'm gonna just wait until I get on something bigger and just wait. Like at this point, I'm not even gonna try to fight for followers. I'm just gonna post and see what happens, okay? But YouTube is definitely gonna be my next big thing. I did pay for YouTube Red yesterday, so if I'm able to just pay for YouTube Red, if I'm able to make $20 on YouTube to pay for YouTube Red, that might be, a gift. I might love that gift, and I would love that. I will be living. Okay, darling. Um, but I will see y'all. Okay, Editor Poochie here. I just wanted to preface before we get into this green makeup video that I didn't actually fully finish the full look. I did put on like my little cloak and my oh, let me not ruin it. But I was honestly just practicing on like the the textures and the formulas of the palette to see like how would it actually turn out to see if I'm able to do it for real. Um, but don't judge me too hard. I feel like it came out pretty decent, and you will see in the finished like I guess look of it all. It's not a lot of chops. I try to chop it only when I like got up or something like that, so y'all could see all the blending I had to do, and it kept lifting. It kept peeling, not peeling. It didn't really peel. It was just coming off when I was trying to blend it in. That's why you're gonna see me use so many fingers. It was a mess. I didn't know whether to use white or yellow. Okay, y'all will literally see. So oh yeah, I also wanted to try to recreate this Wicked billboard poster from when I first saw it. Saw Wicked in theater. I didn't see it in theater, which I really am sad I haven't saw it when it first came out with Idina and Kristen. Um, but I just wanted to recreate this because this is what really captured my attention of Wicked in a sense where like I was like, yes, wait, that looks really good. Like, I really want to see that as a kid. Um, and yeah, so let's get into it again. Part 2. Like, comment, and subscribe. I didn't really say it, but yeah.
There's just two friends, two good friends,
Two
best
friends.
And after an amazing time in Emerald City, they go to see the wizard, and he sings A Sentimental Man, which is about him always wanting to be a father. And he sees the people of Oz like his children, and he wants Elphaba to prove herself and prove that she has magical powers. So they ask her to read a spell in this magical book, The Grimmery. The wizard says this monkey fishery has overturned this line, and has Elphaba read this spell.
That's the Grimmery. Should I do white or this lime green?
And he's the one behind the suppression of the animal rights, and he's going to use the monkeys as spies. So Elphaba runs and hides, and Glinda chases after her. Madame Morrible announces to Oz that Elphaba is a wicked witch who should be captured. What we
Wicked what?
Elphaba and Glinda start to sing Defying Gravity, where Elphaba realizes how powerful she is, and she's stronger even than the Wizard of Oz, and she doesn't believe him. Elphaba and Glinda fantasize about going on this journey together, but both of them know it's never truly going to happen because of what Glinda wants out of life and what Elphaba wants. They're both on different paths, and they sing I Hope You're Happy to each other in a sincere way. This song, I Hope You're Happy, was originally a full song that Glinda and Elphaba sang, but was cut down to just a verse in Defying Gravity. Elphaba uses the spell hook and causes a green telepathy, which she rides off on and goes to the western sky. She's realizing that she's been chasing other people's approval, and she's going to fight even if that means she has to fight alone.
But I don't know.
So in Act 2, we come back to a similar scene we saw in Act 1, where the audience and Glinda are all celebrating. The people are all spreading news about how wicked Elphaba is and how she different magical powers, and the fact that Victoria's dancing and water can help her.
Not her so unclean.
Now everyone sees her as a hero, and she's adored by the public, and she's gotten everything she's ever wanted, but she can't help but feel that she's power, especially because Madame Morrible and the wizard are spreading lies about Elphaba that Glinda knows are true, and she doesn't want to just stand by and watch as all of this is happening to Elphaba. And between this time, Hero has also become Captain of the Guard, and this event is actually a surprise engagement party. It's surprise to Hero, but Hero is more preoccupied with trying to find Elphaba, and then we see where Elphaba is, and she's visiting Nessa Rose in Munchkinland. Elphaba goes to ask Nessa for their father's help, but realizes that their father has died, and Nessa has been shipping these things up the rights so she can keep the box by her side. We can tell Bob is definitely no longer interested in her, but Elphaba tries to convince Nessa that she can help her with the animal testing situation, but then Nessa turns around on Elphaba and is like, you'd rather help these animals you've never met than your own sister, and she said, why do you ever try to use your spell to help me walk, basically. But now that Elphaba has the room, she thinks maybe there is a spell that can help Nessa walk, and Elphaba casts a spell on the trees that her father gave her, and she is able to start walking. She thinks that this is going to change everything, and Bob will actually agree with her, but sadly she's mistaken, and when she calls off, then he says, now you don't need me, and I can leave, and they sing a song referencing back to what they've done together in her life, where Bob tells Nessa that he wants to leave.
Doc ain't shit.
Try to stop Glinda and Hero.
But Nessa's a dumbass hoe.
Nessa knowing that after all this time he's still gonna love Glinda, and that he's lost his heart for her, and Nessa grabs the journal and starts reading it.
Oh, you lost your heart for her. Okay. You gonna really lose your heart now. Literally when Nessa wrote that. Oh my god, yo, I don't know how to say it.
Nessa also sings Go to the East, which is a song that tells on soundtrack, and Elphaba flees to the wizard's chambers. So when Elphaba's there, she's searching for a way to...
Should I do yellow or white?
When she's there, she runs into the wizard, and the wizard tries to get Elphaba on his side, and he sings the song Wonderful, where he basically says that it's all a matter of public perception.
Or liberator, which meant the thief, is one invader or ruthless invader.
The citizens are always seeing things in black and white and picking a side, and Elphaba agrees to help the wizard if he frees the monkeys, and he does free the monkeys. But after this, Elphaba discovers Dr. Dillamond is there, and she turns to the wizard and realizes that she can't work with someone like him who has no morals, and tells him that she's going to fight him until the day she dies. And knowing the wizard can't fight her alone, he calls the guards. But surprisingly, the one that hears the commotion is actually Glinda. Glinda goes to investigate and rushes to embrace Elphaba, but then when she realizes that Hero is intending to leave with Elphaba, she starts to break down and sings a reprise of I'm Not That Girl. Definitely a different vibe than Elphaba singing it, because Glinda's who would never expect to feel this way, or realizing that Hero would want Elphaba over her causes her a lot of distress, and when the wizard
realize he's not
Glinda suggests that they should spread a rumor about Elphaba being trouble who could cause Elphaba to go see her, but Madame Morrible and the wizard feel like just a rumor might not be enough, and a storm may be with it, and we know Madame Morrible's specialty is weather, and after the sad I'm Not That Girl, a mysterious foggy clearing where Elphaba and Hero meet, singing a sensual song As Long As You're Mine to each other, very much pulling from their passionate love affair that they had in the book, and a chance for Elphaba to say that for the first time she feels wicked. But then Elphaba starts to get a vision of a house flying through the sky and something being wrong with Nessa, and leaves and leaves Hero behind, and we see Glinda just after she's seen Dorothy and sent her along on the Yellow Brick Road. Elphaba rushes to Munchkinland to see what happened to her sister, and indeed a house did fall on her, which is so tragic. She finally was able to walk, and then she gets killed by a house. But Glinda then
that is so tea. I didn't
even peep that, yo.
See the wizard and Dorothy took the shoes that Nessa was wearing. Although they initially are both mourning Nessa, Elphaba and Glinda start to fight each other and slap each other before the guards rush in, and Fiyero sacrifices himself to allow Elphaba to escape. And Fiyero is tied to a cross and is somewhat crucified, but Elphaba starts to be spelled to try to save his life, which leads into No Good Deed, another solo that Elphaba sings, where she first sings about trying to save
This don't smell like
life,
crayons,
anything
like-
possible to stop him from bleeding or feeling pain. But then throughout this song, she realizes that No Good Deed doesn't punish. Everything she's tried to do in her life to please others and help others has only backfired, and people have only blamed her for the bad things, and she doesn't get any credit for the good that she's done. At this point, she's just over seeking people's approval and trying to do things that help other people when everything that she does is misinterpreted by people anyway. Nessa died, Dr. Dillon is unable to speak, and Fiyero may be dying. She feels like everyone she's tried to help in a way has lent her voice, and a great song where she's becoming the villainess for the good of the left.
So the makeup totally picked up right there. I don't know if I should put a concealer or I'm gonna put this the lighter thing right there. Let's see.
Which leads into March of the Witch Hunters, which has the same tune as No Good Deed, where a mob of Ozians are singing about wanting to kill Elphaba. The mob is led by Bach. Two of the good deeds she tried to do, like saving Bach's life after Nessa was about to kill him, and rescuing the lion cub, has come back to haunt her. I guess at this point they crossed paths with Dorothy probably, because we then cut to Fearless and Castle in the Blankets, just Dorothy's captured because Elphaba tries to rescue the slippers officer, and unexpectedly Belinda arrives there. Elphaba receives a note from one of the flying monkeys that says that they've seen Fiyero's face for the last time. This kind of implies to Belinda that he's dead, but Elphaba knows that she did a spell to transform him, and Belinda and Elphaba realize that they only really have each other at this point. Elphaba asks Belinda to carry on her work after she's gone and to never try to hear her name, and they start to sing the song For Good, which has a great double meaning of the phrase for good, as in forever, and also to oppose to evil. In this song, Belinda and Elphaba forgive and apologize and thank each other for the friendship that they had. And Elphaba gives Belinda the memory even though she can't read it. Stephen Schwartz got the real life influence for the song from asking his daughter what she would say to her best friend if she could never see her again. And this message does come across very well in the song. You can tell that Belinda and Elphaba love each other, and they're putting all of their transgressions aside to say goodbye to each other for one last time. They hear footsteps approach, and Belinda goes to hide, and Elphaba, realizing that she has no way out of the situation, allows the bucket of water to be drawn her from Dorothy and melts and leaves behind Elphaba's black hat and a small green bottle. Belinda knows what this bottle is because in popular she asks her about why she kept the bottle under her pillow, and she knows it was left behind from her mother. Belinda makes the connection that the only other place that she's seen this bottle before is from the wizard, so she goes to confront the wizard about it, and in a horrible twist of fate, the wizard, who is a sentimental man who only wanted to be a father, ended up killing his own daughter. And Belinda threatens that he needs to take an indefinite leave of absence and to get his balloon ready, and also calls the guards to arrest Madame Morrible. Madame Morrible and the wizard gone, Belinda is now the ruler and has the role of leading the people of Oz down a path of good. And in the finale, they bring back the music from No One Mourns the Wicked. But during the finale, we learn that Elphaba and Fiyero are still alive, and they're planning to leave Oz and never return. And Fiyero is now a scarecrow. So actually, Elphaba didn't die, but rather faked her death to get a chance to escape because she knew she could never live in Oz in peace.
I think Wicked was totally mediocre.
So despite Wicked being such a beloved and favorite musical, it actually got quite mixed reviews. For example, The New Yorker wrote Ian Baldwin, who wrote the first book,
I could've definitely just did
more
one.
fun with this project than most of his collaborators. He's invented a handful of mad copies and
I could've definitely did.
Discovery, Video Idiots, to send up the instantaneous Belinda, borrowing some of his own pop songs to good comic effect. They told the intricate story with a modicum of flair, but the same cannot be said for the score. The show's 21 songs were written by Stephen Schwartz, and not one of them is memorable. If someone wrote about my work, you'd never hear from me again. And Wicked would be nominated for 10 Tony Awards and end up winning 3 of them for Best Actress in a Musical for Dina Menzel, Best Scenic Design for Jean Lee, Best Costume Design for Susan Heckerty, and this does show that awards are not necessarily important for long-term success and cultural importance. The relevance of the Wizard of Oz was able to propel their big key success, give the show international appeal and success. It drew a lot of a younger fan base who really connected with the characters of Belinda and Elphaba. The show would win Poultry Drum Best Awards, which is another prominent theater award show. They would win Best Musical, acting, direction of the musical, orchestration, set design, and costume design, but that Wicked didn't end up winning Best Musical. And Wait in the Wings actually has a great video about the fight for the 2003 to 2004 Broadway scene. There's also this documentary, Show Business, The Road to Broadway.
When doing readings and workshopping a new show, you never know when the money might fall out or something will happen, the creative team will, someone will get another job. It's rare you see something make its way all the way through to the Broadway stage.
That shows 4 very different musicals journey to make it to the Broadway stage. There was Taboo, the musical written by Boy George about his life and early career. There was Carolina or Change, a original musical about a black woman named Caroline who works as a maid for this Jewish family in the 1960s Louisiana. There is Wicked, which, There is Avenue Q, a musical comedy featuring puppets, and the Show Business documentary is very fascinating because all of these shows are having different problems.
That's okay. It's almost dangerously powerfully close to being so incredibly inauthentic that it's frightening.
Seems Rosie O'Donnell's Broadway show is too taboo for Broadway. The musical is closing February 8th.
And trying to get funding and trying to stay on Broadway and making it to the awards to hopefully secure funding to keep their show running. Unlike the Wicked team,
this ain't it,
experienced people, the Avenue Q team was definitely the underdogs. Jeff Marks and Robert Lopez were making their very first musical.
We're next door. And we're going to be up against them for
documentary, it's very cute seeing how wonderstruck the creative team of Avenue Q is getting their first big break, contrast with the Wicked team, who's jaded industry professionals who do seem kind of money hungry.
I will not be going to the opening night of Wicked. I will be in Vermont.
What we're most excited about is that our dance is growing and growing, and the word is spreading, and people seem to be embracing the show in a way that the numbers just keep climbing.
So Avenue Q winning this award was very important for the show because unlike Wicked, who we see didn't win Best Musical but still running 20 years later, Avenue Q needed backing from awards like the Tonys to be able to keep the show running. And after winning Best Musical, Best Book, and Best Score, the musical continued to run for 6 years on Broadway and ran off-Broadway in New York for another 9 years, which would not have been possible without them winning the Tony. This has also paved the way for Robert Lopez to be one of the most successful songwriters of our generation and became the youngest person to win an EGOT, has also won not just one of everything, but two of everything. So he has like a double EGOT. And he would go on to write for huge musicals.
Cause he got a big EGOT.
Also, Idina Menzel winning the Tony Award for Best Actress in 2003, him winning Best Original Score, and then 10 years later, them going on to make Let It Go together for Frozen, Robert Lopez and his wife writing the lyrics for that song. I know people will probably say award shows shouldn't be so political, and if Wicked was the best musical, it should have won or whatever. And I'm not even really debating whether Wicked should have won on merit, but unfortunately, awards are very political. I mean, in 1940, when the Oscars gave Judy Garland a sort of made-up award for juvenile actors because she was too young to be nominated for a major category, and that was presented to her by Mickey Rooney, her onstage love interest, and another popular actor at MGM. And I'm not saying she didn't deserve the award, but do you think that would have happened if Louis B. Mayer, one of the executives at MGM, wasn't the creator of the Academy Awards? Think about it. So I also do want to talk a bit about the Broadway legacy that Wicked has. It opened in October 30th of 2003 and is still running 20 years later, 8 shows a week. Weekend Matinees, No Show Monday. It's also the second highest grossing musical, only behind The Lion King, and is currently the 4th longest running musical of all time on Broadway. And not just on Broadway, but they've done countless shows in the West End, national tours, international translated shows. Also, many Tony winning and Tony nominated actors and actresses have passed through the roles in Wicked, like Lindsay Mendez, Megan Hilty, Annalie Ashford, Aaron Tveit, Andy Carl, and Derek Klena, and many other popular actors have gone on to play those roles. Taye Diggs, Idina Menzel's husband and co-star of Rent, would play Fiyero for a limited time. In Stephen Schwartz's book, he also mentions a lot of the original cast members of Pippin would go on to play the Wizard at different times. It's also had just such a big influence on the Broadway community. It's referenced in musicals like Bring It On and The Book of Mormon. There's even that 2009 episode all about Kurt and Rachel fighting over who can sing Defying Gravity better. Also, both Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel played recurring characters on Glee. The show has also had a very large online recording community, if you know what I mean, throughout the years. Everyone loves to see the different interpretations that different actresses have of Glinda and Elphaba, and there's so many like Wicked compilations, Wicked goofy moments, Wicked mistakes compilations, and even comparing all the different Elphaba's riffs and all the different Glindas. I feel like that's been a pretty big community of people online for a long time. Also, quite a few of the Broadway cast members have vlogged their experience working on Wicked. For Elphaba, Lindsay Mendez and Mary-Kate Morrissey have vlogged. Derek Klena and Lindsay Mendez played opposites of each other in Dogfight, and it was really cool to see them transition from Dogfight to playing opposites of each other in Wicked. I love when actors do that. Also, Cara Lindsay would vlog. She played Catherine Plummer in the original cast of Newsies. Amanda Jane Cooper and the Madame Morrible Cheryl Lee Raff and Fiyero Jonah Platt would all vlog their experiences as well. I would definitely recommend checking these out if you're into wanting to know what happens behind the scenes on Broadway and a peek behind the curtain. Definitely a lot of theater kid energy though. Also, quite a few actresses have rose to prominence for portraying Elphaba, like Jackie Burns, Stephanie J. Block, and Wilhelmine Burkett. I was trying to figure out just how many people have played Elphaba and Glinda on Broadway now, or even worldwide, and it's so hard to tell just because so many people have passed through the role. This user Ozdust Broom on Time.graphics made these cool charts showing the timelines for Broadway Glindas and Elphabas, and even the West End Glinda and Elphabas, and Fiyeros and Dr. Dillamans. And I would definitely recommend checking those out if you want to see more about all the people who have donned the pink and green. So that's basically a recap on the Wicked musical and its journey to Broadway. It's such a really fascinating show. I think it's become even more special to people in the Broadway community just because of how much they feel seen in Defying Gravity and lyrics, and how much life all of the different actresses have brought to Glinda and Elphaba. Glinda and Elphaba have also become such iconic dream roles for so many people. Wicked just has such a long, interesting legacy, and it's interesting how it's interweaved with the Wizard of Oz legacy, because I don't think Wicked would have the success without the backdrop of the Wizard of Oz as like a reference point for most people who go into seeing Wicked. But like at this point, I feel like my entire life I've basically seen Wicked as like Wizard of Oz canon, even though I know some people don't like that. Even people in my last video are commenting they felt like Wicked distorted L. Frank Baum's original vision, and in a way I can see that just because the book is so mature and different than the Wizard of Oz universe. But the Wicked musical, even if it's not your favorite, there are some great elements and great songs that came out of it. I love Act 1 of Wicked especially. I do think in Act 2 the story kind of falters a little bit, but I have hopes that they could fix the problems with Act 2 in the movie. So thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know all of your Wicked thoughts. No. Let me know all of your thoughts on Wicked, and I'm really working hard to try to make YouTube a potential job for me. So anyone who watches, like, subscribes, comments, it's really helpful to me, and I
look like
thank
a
you guys so
lizard.
much. See you next time. Bye.
No American novel has quite captured hearts and minds like L. Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. For over 120 years, Baum's novel has spurred the imaginations of young and old alike and spawned countless adaptations, the earliest including a 1902 Broadway musical and a 1910 silent film. But one adaptation stands above them all, 1939's The Wizard of Oz, starring Judy Garland. From Harold Arlen and Yip Harburg's iconic songs to groundbreaking special effects, The Wizard of Oz has become one of the most beloved films of all time. But 1939's Wizard of Oz would be far from the last version of Baum's fairy tale. In 1975, an all-black version of The Wizard of Oz named The Wiz would take Broadway by storm, winning 7 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. The Wiz proved that there were still fresh, exciting ways to present Baum's novel, but finding those new ways proved easier said than done. There have been dozens of Oz remakes, sequels, and prequels that sought to capitalize off of Oz's popularity, but only one has come close to capturing the magic that the 1939 film or even The Wiz possessed. A 2003 Broadway musical that would reintroduce us to the Witches of Oz and show us that so much happened before Dorothy dropped in. This was Wicked. Wicked began in the mind of author Gregory Maguire. Maguire grew up watching The Wizard of Oz, but while most children were terrified of Margaret Hamilton's Wicked Witch of the West, Maguire was fascinated by her.
I look at you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
Maguire recognized that there were much more sinister things happening in Oz. In the original Wizard of Oz, the wizard tells Dorothy, remember that the witch is wicked, tremendously wicked, and ought to be killed. Well, I found the wizard hiding behind the curtains, sending children off to kill someone as scary as the witch. Maguire turned his fascination into a full-length novel for adults. Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, was published in 1995. The book charts the life of Elphaba, the green-skinned woman who would become the Wicked Witch of the West. The book was generally well received, though some criticized the book's heavy political allegories, claiming they weighed the book down and made it deadly dull. It wasn't long before Hollywood took notice of the book and came knocking on Maguire's door. Universal Studios optioned the rights to the book and teamed up with Demi Moore's production company, Moving Pictures, to make the film. Mark Platt had recently taken up the helm as head of production at Universal. Platt believed in Wicked's potential as a movie, but was having trouble finding a screenplay that worked. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away in Hawaii, composer Stephen Schwartz was on vacation. Schwartz rose to prominence in the 70s, composing hit Broadway musicals like Godspell, Pippin, and The Magic Show. But by the 90s, he turned his attention to Hollywood, winning Oscars writing music and lyrics for animated films, including Pocahontas and The Hunchback of Notre Dame for Disney, and The Prince of Egypt for DreamWorks. While on vacation, a friend of Schwartz brought up Gregory Maguire's novel. Upon hearing the premise, Schwartz immediately thought that it would make a great musical, but not an animated musical, a stage musical. Schwartz flew out to Hollywood to convince Mark Platt to make Wicked a stage musical instead of a movie. Platt was sold. A light bulb went on and I thought, this is exactly what's missing from the screenplay. After convincing Gregory Maguire and the heads of Universal, Stephen Schwartz was given permission to begin work on Wicked as a musical. Schwartz would ask writer Winnie Holtzman to pen the book of the musical. Holtzman was known for her television writing on shows like 30-something and creating the cult favorite My So-Called Life. Holtzman felt up to the challenge of writing Wicked for the stage. Stephen Schwartz tried to warn me how intense it would be. I thought I was listening, but you never really listen to someone trying to warn you. You have to live it yourself. Unlike most Broadway musicals, Wicked would be developed in LA instead of New York. Schwartz and Holtzman would utilize LA actors to develop the musical. Stephanie J. Block was hired to workshop Elphaba's material in the show. Block was well known in the LA theater scene, playing lead roles in many regional productions, as well as performing at Disneyland. Block would be one of the first people to sing Stephen Schwartz's brand new songs, beginning with One Short Day, As Long As You're Mine, and Making Good, which would later become The Wizard and I. Schwartz's music gave Mark Platt and the executives at Universal further confidence to move forward with making Wicked a stage musical. Stephen Schwartz had only one actress in mind to play the role of Belinda. Kristen Chenoweth was fresh off of her Tony win for her performance in You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, and her star was quickly on the rise.
Clearly, some philosophies are for all people. And that's my new philosophy.
By 2000, Chenoweth was in LA, filming her own self-titled series for NBC. That's when Stephen Schwartz decided to reach out about Wicked. At that point, I was so tired and really reluctant, but then I read it and thought, I definitely want to do this reading, so I did. Chenoweth's casting would prove to be integral to the show's development. Based on wanting Kristen to do the show and how much she brought to it, we started to reshape the whole plot. It became the story of a friendship. That happened because of Kristen. After the first full reading of the show in the spring of 2001, Mark Platt brought on David Stone to be his producing partner. Stone would be the one to suggest Joe Mantello to direct the show. Mantello was an actor turned director and had been at the helm of several visually stunning, critically acclaimed plays, but never a musical as large as Wicked. Mantello felt that since it was his first time directing a show of Wicked's magnitude, the central role of Elphaba should be played.
There's just not going to be no
by
highlight
Broadway plot
on my cheek because
that
it's
meant
going
that
to be
Stephanie J. Block, who had been with Wicked from the beginning, would not get to continue on as Elphaba. I was heartbroken. It was like someone punched me in the gut, quite frankly, but I understood. My heart didn't understand, but my head certainly did. Block would stay with the show in the ensemble, understudying Elphaba through the end of Wicked's San Francisco tryouts, but would not open the show on Broadway. Instead, she made her Broadway debut in another Oz musical opposite Hugh Jackman. Block played Liza Minnelli in The Boy from Oz. The show would face off against Wicked at the 2004 Tony Awards. The search for a new Elphaba was a relatively short one. The first person to audition for the role in September 2001 was Idina Menzel. Menzel earned a Tony Award nomination for originating the role of Maureen Johnson in the Broadway phenomenon Rent. Menzel also gave a memorable performance off-Broadway as Kate in Andrew Lippa's The Wild Party. She had just begun performances as Amneris in Disney's Aida when she first auditioned for Wicked. The story sounded intriguing, but most of all, it was going to be directed by Joe Mantello and have music by Stephen Schwartz, and I didn't care if it was the phone book. Those were the kinds of people I wanted to work with. Menzel brought just the right spirit to bring the witchy green woman to life. Idina is so original and ethereal, kind of a mess in such a great way. It makes her the perfect counterpoint with how solid Kristen is. They had incredible chemistry from the first day until the day that Kristen left the show. Wicked's witches were set. Chenoweth and Menzel led Wicked's first full reading in New York. Amongst the attendees was Gregory Maguire. It would be the first time he'd see how Stephen Schwartz and Winnie Holtzman had adapted his dense adult novel into a family-friendly musical. His first reactions were less than enthusiastic. At that December workshop, I was initially sorry agreeing to do it. Nonetheless, once I actually saw Wicked on stage and saw how it worked in front of an audience, I found myself making my peace with it very quickly. Work continued on the show after the December reading. Songs, scenes, and storylines needed to be reworked and clarified. Director Joe Mantello felt that the ending of the show in particular needed to be rewritten. Originally, the ending saw Elphaba go to the Badlands with the Scarecrow to care for Dr. Dillamond and other rebel animals.
We see a small, scrubby farm somewhere in the Badlands. Dr. Dillamond, surrounded by a few animals, looks up in surprise as the Scarecrow and Elphaba arrive.
Dr. Dillamond, do you remember me? Elphaba. Doctor, I wish there was more I could do for you.
Stephen Schwartz was unhappy to change the ending, but Mantello won out in the end. But this would be far from the last time the two creators would clash. Advertising agency Sereno Coin was tasked with creating Wicked's poster art. They settled on a striking yin and yang type image depicting the two witches sharing a secret. By 2003, it was finally time to put Wicked on stage. The cast announced for the San Francisco tryout included Michelle Federer as Nessarose, Carol Shelley as Madame Morrible, Norbert Leo Butz as Fiero, Kirk MacDonald as Bach, John Fortin as Dr. Dillamond, and Robert Morse as the Wizard. Morse was a Broadway legend best known for originating the role of J. Pierpont Finch in the Broadway and film adaptations of How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. Wicked's ensemble was filled with Broadway pros. Kathy Beach was fresh from originating the role of Yerline in the Broadway production of Footloose. Stephen Schwartz just happened to be best friends with Footloose composer Dean Pitchford. After attending a workshop for Footloose, Schwartz approached Kathy Beach and expressed his desire to work with her. A few years later, he'd get his chance.
I had a friend of mine, we were in acting class together, and she's like, I had the craziest dream about you. You were dressed as a witch, but you were on the set of Oklahoma. But you were basically doing a musical about witches. And I was like, wait, Oklahoma's at the Gershwin. I just saw it last week. She was like, yeah, girl, you're going to do that show, that Wicked show. And I was like, there's no part in that for me. I literally said that. There's no part in that for me. I'm not going to be in that show. And then I got a call to be Shen Shen.
Beach would play Shen Shen, one of Glenda's best friends, as well as other roles in the ensemble. Another Footloose alum would join Kathy Beach in Wicked's ensemble. Ben Cameron was in the middle of his second Broadway show when he first auditioned for Wicked.
I was in Aida on Broadway, choreographed by Wayne Salento, who choreographed Wicked. Wicked came up, and of course, we all of us loyal Wayne people auditioned. I danced twice and went in one last time to sing for just Stephen Schwartz and Joe Mantello, and that was that. I will never forget that first table read. But I just sat slack-jawed, and I remember we broke for lunch, and we read through the entire show, and I called my mother, and I was like, I just got involved in something huge.
I didn't hear the score until we were at the table read. And when Idina sang Wizard Tonight, there was not a dry eye. I had Stephanie Block on one side of me and Michael Steelbach on the other side. Me and Michael Steelbach were just like sobbing crazy messes. Stephanie had heard it quite a few times, so she was like, okay. But but we really were very teary. And I think that's when we kind of knew how special it was.
I knew from that moment, just with all the fun revelations that happened throughout the show, it's just so audience satisfying for a culture that's obsessed with the Wizard of Oz anyway. I was like, this is just,
I'm gonna try pink.
This is funny in the bank.
After months of rehearsal, the cast was anxious to get the show up and running.
We were like, we gotta get an audience because this really could be horrible. This could be horrible.
Wicked played its first public performance at the Current Theater in San Francisco on May 28, 2003.
You know, the first night in San Francisco, I mean, it was sold out before the box office opened, and there was just lines around the block after block.
Nerves were high as the curtain went up on the very first
Pink on
performance.
top of the yellow and pink? What? Pink on top of it?
Sunday, we live we'll have moments like this all the time. Absolutely everyone will wish they were us.
Critics were mixed, with some finding Stephen Schwartz's score unmemorable, some finding Winnie Holtzman's book to be confusing, and some just panning the show as a whole. The audience reaction was ecstatic from the beginning.
I will tell you from that first preview, there's never been anything like that. Ever. Ever, ever. I knew after that first night, I was like, we're in a hit. We are in a hit. And everyone was very cautious. Like, the team was very much like, you have to keep this under wraps. You can't talk. New York is different. New York is harsher, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, boo. So after that first one, I was like, wow, I've never been a part of a show that was responded to that way. It was incredible. It was really, really special.
A few critics in San Francisco could see the hit that Wicked would become, noting that with a few small tweaks, the show could go from memorable to classic. But while audiences were cheering for Stephen Schwartz's new musical, Schwartz himself wasn't satisfied with what he was seeing on stage. During heated meetings with the creative team, Schwartz and Winnie Holtzman suggested massive changes to scenes and songs. Their suggestions didn't sit well with director Joe Mantello, the producers Mark Platt and David Stone. We knew we were close to having something big, and we didn't want to screw it up. These heated meetings continued throughout the run in San Francisco, with some meetings ending in tears.
We definitely felt the tension in San Francisco, and there was a point where we were rehearsing, and then all of a sudden we just stopped.
Stephen is kind of legendarily known for wanting to direct his own film, and Stephen has a really hard time letting go of those reins based on his vision of it.
By the summer, tensions grew even more, as Schwartz and Holtzman decided to shut out the rest of the creative team in order to have time to rewrite the show the way they wanted. Joe Mantello was furious at being excluded from the decision-making process. It really pissed me off. But Stephen Schwartz was adamant that these changes be made, at one point telling Mark Platt, "You can do in New York exactly the show that we ended with in San Francisco. You have the legal right to do that, in which case you'll never see me again." Schwartz gave ultimatums like this a number of times, threatening to walk away from the show unless his changes were made. David Stone was oftentimes the mediator in these situations, calming Schwartz down and bringing the team to a compromise. One of the most contentious changes Schwartz insisted upon was the deletion of a funeral scene in Act 1.
Fellow mourners, how can I describe Dr. Dillon? He transformed our lives.
Schwartz's friends and family found the scene unnecessary and confusing, and Schwartz agreed. But removing the scene meant cutting dozens of Susan Hilferty's amazing costumes. It would also remove something that Joe Mantello thought was important to Elphaba's character development, the first time she wears black. Nevertheless, the scene was cut. However, one remnant remained in the show. The dress Nessa Rose wears in Act 2 originally belonged to Glinda in the funeral scene. Other changes made between San Francisco and Broadway were fairly extensive. 3 principal roles were recast. Kirk MacDonald was replaced by Christopher Fitzgerald as Bach. John Horton was replaced by William Humans as Dr. Dillon, and Robert Morse was replaced by Joel Grey as the Wizard. Like Morse, Grey was a Broadway legend best known for his Tony and Academy Award-winning performances as the MC in Cabaret.
Don't let anybody tell you this isn't a terrific thrill.
Other changes included rewriting most of Nessa Rose's dialogue in order to make her character more likable.
Elphaba, why must you always embarrass me? You mean this has happened before? Elphaba, you promised things would be different here. You mean this has happened before?
The character Fiyero also saw some major revisions, including the removal of a face tattoo and a brand new song.
Norm had a song called Which Way is the Party that was like our favorite thing to do, and it was like so jazzy, it was so different than the rest of the score.
How did it go? Which way is the party?
It's time to get on a mountaineer. About to laugh at your love. We're more of a falling. Who wants to volunteer?
And when that changed, when we went to New York, we had a little like pity party. We were like, oh, we love that song. And we can't take their life. You understand it when you hear the arc of why changes are made.
Oh no, we were bummed. Because it was this really hyped up, high energy, up-tempo number, whereas Dancing Through Life was more like a smooth, Sinatra-y kind of deal.
It's hard when you get attached to the choreography and you get attached to the vibe, and, you know.
Even the show's poster received some minor alterations before being plastered all around New York City. Wicked's Broadway home would be the Gershwin Theater. With 1,933 seats, the Gershwin is Broadway's largest house, and Wicked would need to fill every seat each night in order to recoup the production's $14 million budget. By October 8, 2003, Wicked was ready for its first New York audience, but would the changes made between San Francisco and Broadway be for the best?
I mean, I think there's moments of tension and confusion when you're working in the studio and things keep changing, and you're able to go, I don't think this makes any sense. I'm not sure why they're making this change. I don't know why they're making us do this. This doesn't feel right. But I think we all felt pretty secure that this was going to be a hit.
Wicked officially opened on October 30th, 2003. The green carpet was packed with stars eager to see the show everyone was buzzing about. Wicked earned several rave reviews from major publications, no doubt allowing the producers to breathe a sigh of relief. Time magazine gave high praise, saying if every musical had a brain, a heart, and the courage of Wicked, Broadway really would be a magical place. And the Wall Street Journal made a major prediction, saying it's more than good enough to run a decade or two. If it doesn't please you, you're too hard to please. Wicked's leading ladies received most of the love from critics. Idina Menzel was praised for her rock star voice and acting chops, but most critics singled out Kristen Chenoweth as the standout performance of the show.
And with an assist from me, to be who you'll be, instead of dreary who you were, well, are. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming popular. We're gonna make you popular.
But not every critic had kind words for Wicked. Many critics outright panned the show, calling it a muddled mess with unmemorable music. But the negative reviews couldn't kill the positive word of mouth for Wicked.
our houses were not sold out from the beginning, and I do think that the reviews didn't help that. But the show had a life of its own pretty much, like, within 3 months of that. So I just think that we were happy with the audiences loving it so much.
And love it they did. By the 2003 holiday season, Wicked was the hottest ticket in town. Performances sold out regularly, and the show's cast album was an instant bestseller. Wicked quickly gained a devoted following, especially amongst younger theatergoers. The show resonated amongst young people in a way that no Broadway show since Rent had. Teenage girls seemed especially drawn to the show, seeing themselves in one of the two witches. Wicked's popularity continued to grow throughout 2004. Weekly grosses consistently hit well over $1 million, making it by far the biggest hit of the 2003-2004 Broadway season. By the time the 2004 Tony nominations were announced, it seemed already a bygone conclusion that Wicked would sweep nearly every category. Wicked would be competing against Avenue Q, The Boy from Oz, and Caroline or Change for the big prize of the night, Best Musical. Wicked stood out as the most commercial musical of the season, which seemed to only help its chances. After all, the previous 3 Best Musical winners, The Producers, Thoroughly Maud and Millie, and Hairspray, were all big, shiny commercial hits. Wicked seemed destined to follow in their footsteps.
I was more sure that we were going to win all the Tonys, and if nothing else, Best Musical, than I was that this was going to be it. And I think we all were. I don't think there was any world in which that wasn't happening.
Hugh Jackman was hosting it. It was unbelievable. And by the way, that was like an unbelievable experience.
All the shows from the season got to be in the opening number with Hugh Jackman. So us and Avenue Q, Wonderful Town, and we all got to rise up in the opening number of the Tonys on this big Radio City elevator and be part of that opening number.
The people who were on the floor were dancing with all the people from Fiddler on the Roof. Like, when would that ever happen? Like, seeing Wicked and Fiddler people dancing, like, it's crazy. We always talk about connection and how the community's so tight, but that is actually what mattered.
So we got to do that.
The debate about Avenue Q's Tony upset rages on to this day. Many believe that Avenue Q's campaign, the likes of which Broadway had never seen, was the main reason they beat Wicked for the Tony. Others feel that Avenue Q was simply the better show and deserved to win. Whatever the case, losing the Tony didn't seem to hurt Wicked at the box office one bit.
The Broadway community is the Broadway community is the Broadway community. The Tonys is like a thing for the producers to crow about. Do you want the hit show, or do you want the Tony? Like, who cares? Like, if you have a show that's running and all of your investors are happy and you're happy, like, and everybody has jobs, isn't that enough? Like, why do the accolades matter?
It didn't matter. And, you know, Dina came on for the first show after the Tonys, and the audience just went nuts when she ran down stage, and, you know, life was good.
On July 18th, just a month after the Tonys, Kristen Chenoweth departed the show, along with Joel Grey and Norbert Leo Butz. Chenoweth left the show in order to pursue other projects. At least that was the reason given to the press. Rumors began to spread that Chenoweth was leaving for a different reason. Her co-star, Idina Menzel. On August 8, 2004, gossip column Page 6 released an article detailing Chenoweth and Menzel's relationship. As it turns out, things hadn't been well in Oz for quite some time. According to an unnamed representative for Kristen Chenoweth, Kristen tried to make things work from the beginning with Idina, and now she has moved on. Menzel's team denied that the two actresses had any problems, with Menzel's lawyer adding Kristen Chenoweth did not leave because of Idina Menzel. There were only 2 people quoted by name in the article, and one was the Wizard of Oz himself, Joel Grey. Very often, life imitates art. Kristen and Idina were rivals in the show, and they had this difficult relationship, and that very often rolls over into real life. Almost everything was going wrong.
For a very long time in San Francisco, at the beginning of the New York production, at the end of Defying Gravity, Kristen would always remain on stage, because she's downstage right, and wait for Dina to come down from the apparatus, and they would hold each other and walk up the stage together in that part. That stopped happening.
Total polar opposite personalities. Kristen is a total extrovert. She's exactly what you think she's going to be. She is hilarious and bubbly and wants everyone around all the time. And Idina was like really, really introverted. And probably this process, painfully so, because the character's so isolated from all of us. And when we do see you, I'm yelling horrible things to you on stage. I just feel like their temperaments were different, and when they got together, it was that people felt in the show. Like, it worked for the show. You know, Joe Mantel, our director, said something really that stuck with me. He was like, you don't have to be friends to have a hit show. Nobody has to like each other to have a hit show.
You know, for the last time, can you put to rest the rumors that the two of you did not get along? Because there's still, for some reason, they're haunting the two witches here that you didn't get along. I know! Could my voice gone any higher? And, you know, you guys all have different styles, right? Yes. Sometimes you disagree. Yes. But you love each other, you're a family, right? Yes. Okay, there you go. Right. Idina worked so hard. We worked so hard together, and we were magic together. Mm-hmm. And we have different styles, but I love her. Yeah.
Whatever misgivings the two had about each other seems to be old news, as Chenoweth and Menzel have reunited multiple times over the years for Wicked events and anniversaries.
I hosted the live audience taping for the 15th anniversary television special, so I was with the both of them for the filming, and they were getting along fast. Time does wonders. We both are part of this incredible chapter in history, and it seems to me that they really cherish that and cherish each other at this stage of the game.
In September of 2004, it was announced that Idina Menzel would play her final performance in Wicked on January 9th. Unfortunately for Menzel, she'd be departing the show a day on January 8th during the matinee performance. A technical error caused the elevator that lowered Menzel into the stage for Elvis' melting scene to already be in its lowered position before Menzel was on it. Menzel fell through the trapdoor, injuring her lower rib. Menzel would not be able to give her scheduled final performance as Elphaba. Instead, Menzel's standby and upcoming replacement Shoshana Bean would step in for Menzel, and Menzel would receive a special send-off during the curtain call. Menzel surprised the many fans who'd bought tickets to see her final performance by coming on stage during the last scene of the musical, performing in a red tracksuit. Menzel's farewell was truly one for the Broadway history books. With both Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel gone, some wondered how long Wicked would continue dominating the Broadway box office. Did it have the power to join the ranks of The Lion King and The Phantom of the Opera? And how would Wicked fare outside of America? The world was about to find out.
And the 2004 Tony Award for Best Musical goes to Avenue Q. Avenue Q. Avenue Q.
After the harsh blow of losing the Tony Award for Best Musical, Wicked's future briefly seemed uncertain. Losing the Tony can be the kiss of death for some Broadway shows. Luckily, it wouldn't be for Wicked. The show's fan base continued to grow, and tickets were selling out fast. By the end of 2004, Wicked was the top-selling Broadway show of the year, beating out Disney's Lion King and recent mega hit The Producers. But Wicked would soon face another dilemma. With Kristen Chenoweth's departure in July of 2004 and Idina Menzel's memorable farewell in January 2005, some wondered if Wicked would still be able to fill the massive Gershwin Theater night after night. Was the show strong enough to sustain losing its two main attractions? Or would it follow the same road as The Producers? While the Mel Brooks musical was a record-breaking phenomenon when it first opened, it never regained its spot at the top of the box office once original stars Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick left the show. But Wicked would soon prove just how popular it really was.
Couldn't be here today. So me, El Mama, is gonna do a reading for you today. Are you ready? Because I am. I am El Mama. Don't get me confused with my sister, Elphaba. And I will see you